Hey, welcome to another edition of Kyle Meredith with. It's the interview series presented by WFPK at WFPK.org, Consequence and the Consequence Podcast Network. Thanks as always for making your way here, for checking out the series. You definitely know what to do. If you like what you see, what you hear, hit that subscribe button. I put out 3 new interviews every single week, so it's a great way to keep up with all of your favorite artists. And today, for the 1000th episode, I've got 2 of my all-time favorite artists, Les Claypool and Maynard James Keenan. Hello, guys.
Aloha.
Good.
Fuck,
Where'd Maynard go? I don't see him anymore. There he is.
are we wearing hats? What are we doing here? Hang on.
Are we wearing hats?
Wish I got the note. I'm at my office today. I don't.
Didn't get the fucking memo. All right, we're good.
I have a Laurel and Hardy action figure. Does that count? That's not a hat at all.
What happened to your wrist there?
Oh man, I was there was a bank robbery in progress,
Yeah, you tackled him.
and, and
Gave him the
also
old choke.
also a kidnapping, but like a separate on the same day. And here's the thing, thwarted both, but the word hero is being tossed around, and I just unless there's a check involved in that, I don't really see any reason to be called a hero without.
Like someone from Czechoslovakia, you mean?
Yes.
Well, look at
Anybody?
this. I got an injury too.
Oh, were you thwarting a crime?
I was I was wrestling a bear, wrestling the old Grizz up the old Grizz shack.
Oh wow.
Nah, I was looking for nuggets and just overexerted myself in the nugget search for nuggets.
Oh.
I don't know.
How does
It's
one
old guy.
overexert
It's all old
themselves?
guy shit.
This is exactly what I was hoping for. You guys can just take this over, and
Yeah, you don't want
so it's my 1000th episode that we're taping today of my
Holy moly.
series. So
Do we get a prize for that or some sort of like bobblehead or gum?
the funny thing is, no, not even a pen. It is.
peace. Bye.
I'm famously forgettable, and I think that's 1,000 episodes later. That's what I can hang on my wall. Impressively forgettable, I think is what you get. So, thank you both for being here. Seriously, 1,000 episodes in. Les, I think this is the 6th time that you have been on my series. Maynard, the second time for you. And the great thing is, you all made it easy because you've been touring together this year and just announced more dates next year, 2025. The Sessanta Tour. I hope I'm saying Sessanta right. So, so I don't know. Let's start back from the start. I don't know which one of you guys want to take this. I'd love to know how far your all's friendship goes back. Like what's your meet cute? Uh,
Meat cute? What the hell is meat cute?
What the fuck did he just say?
you got the
What?
story? Like that's it's your cute moment when you guys met each other.
Well, it was Lollapalooza, and there was a message board, which is kind of like Tinder of 1993.
Was that a message board?
Yeah, like little sticky notes after the show. You just put a sticky note up that
Oh,
says, "Les, meet me in my bus."
Yeah, the notes weren't actually sticky until afterwards. They were just regular pieces of paper, and then they became sticky notes.
We invented post-its in a way, but a whole new level.
Yeah, it's a whole new level. It's a code which we're letting you in on sticky notes.
it is so funny that that's not been so long ago that, of course, when you said message board, like there were internet message boards around at the time, and
No,
I couldn't put it together in my head that you guys were on Lollapalooza, but still on your respective computers. Although,
oh,
Maynard, and you and I talked about this, I know last time with my friends in Love Jones, Barry Thomas, he said you were the first person to ever show him the internet. So I do know that you were at least logged in at some to some degree back then.
I, yeah, I gotta be careful what I say because I don't know what I showed him. You never.
What could you have showed him in 1993 or whatever? It's not like there were a lot of websites at that point.
I
Uh,
didn't even have a computer in '93.
a letter drawing of a vagina, like like this, like they map it out on the page, and it's like that looks like that could be anything, but it was trying to be a vagina.
It's like a light bright.
I
That's what
still masturbate to those.
Yeah.
I hope that's true. Why would I hope that's true? I hope that's true.
Why would I lie?
Why would you lie? Do you all like is there a like the friendship again, especially when I think about where you both came from musically, because for the eye rolling that alternative was at the time. I feel like both of you all truly were sort of alternative artists with, is it fair to me say with as much, importance, or at least to some degree, some importance on comedy as music?
Well, I mean, back then, alternative meant the alternative to what was popular. So we were all alternative as far as like us and the Tools and the Soundgardens and the Fish Bones, and it was the alternative to all the hairball bands and whatnot that were dominating the airwaves. So it's the terminology changed more than the initial definition. Am I correct in saying that?
I agree with you.
Was there a musical overlap for you guys when you met?
We were both into the Monkees. I remember telling Maynard his voice reminded me of Mickey Dolenz.
Is that true?
We're gonna go with yeah. We're gonna just go with yes.
Well, I did say that.
I mean, I remember it because I was probably on acid.
I don't remember the acid.
Well, it's because you know hanging out with Lane Staley, you couldn't pick up a drink anywhere near you without it having, so you had to be really careful.
I feel like with everything that's being said today, I have to follow it. Is that really true? Like, it's just fun thinking of where you all came from and how you've sort of navigated your both of your careers, and that's really what I'm getting to here because what. And I can't even just name one band. All the projects that you all do have such a unique imprint that putting this tour together, I don't know whose idea it was, but it seems like this was something that could have been thought, a million years ago, and it still would have worked. I mean, where did the idea of the Sessanta Tour come from?
Well, I think it was I was trying to get my 50th birthday together, and I was looking to kind of just gather a bunch of people in LA to play, and I tried to describe what I had in mind um, to many of the local bands that I'm involved in and are friends with, and they all looked at me like I was fucking crazy. So I had to default back to people like, Failure and Perfect Circle and Pussifer, who two of which are me. Because if I'm crazy, well, then I can get along with me. Um, and then we added the fourth crazy, which is Primus for this run. Initially, it was Failure.
And you're all three bands on stage all the time, more or less. Like I love the videos I've seen because they're like if you're not playing, you're still just kind of sitting there or walking around or just
The
like
only thing we were going to try to add this tour was a pond out behind the stage so Les could get some fishing in while he's waiting to come back out.
I love this. This is a surprise to me. I'm very excited.
It might be a very small pond.
It's more of a goldfish bowl. I'm
Yes, yes, with like a magnet.
with a magnet and chewing gum.
just the little chompers on that little game, like
Yeah,
a little swimming pool in the back. um, the promo vids going out, Maynard. Who is this character in the promo vids that you've created?
it's me at 40.
Oh, so just like 10 years ago.
Yeah, well, or 70, either way. Vote for me. Um, yeah, I just try to use some old makeup and it's just me stammering.
That goes the thing though. It's like, and I think we've talked about this a little bit too. And Les, maybe you can talk about this. It's like, do you all think of what you're doing as playing characters?
I mean, for me, my whole singing career started and for many years, it was me doing nothing but playing characters because I was so not confident in my vocals that I would just take on all these characters, pretend I was Mel Blanc, for lack of a better explanation, and and it wasn't until the early 2000s and doing the Oysterhead and working with Sean Lennon and whatnot that I actually became comfortable with my voice. But I still enjoy stepping into characters. It just makes it easier for me, and I think it's a better performance. And I've always been attracted to like a lot of country music and a lot of folk music that tells some sort of tale. Whether it's John Henry or Amos Moses. Those songs made me listen a little harder, and so I wrote these songs with these characters and subsequently became the characters because I didn't know
You're still on stage even on this tour, like when you don the mask. Like I don't know if that's just being an entertainer or if that's still taking that moment to sort of step outside of yourself.
The masks have just become such a staple over the years. It's like anything else. That's the wonderful thing about being able to go do any shows, whether it's the Santa or Primus shows or Frog Brigade shows, is to me it's like, I get to have Halloween multiple days a year. Whether it's me putting on something or seeing people in the audience. Lately we've had all these bananas in the audience. I love it. We've got all these bananas running around the audience. And I just think it's the greatest. It makes me happy and inspires me to do to stepping up a notch, on stage. So
What is it the same for you, Maynard? Because when you talk about, your three bands, for you, like it's the same thing. I wonder if it's character, but maybe also it's more of just being able to use a different voice.
It's a different voice, but it's also, as Les had said, it stems initially from an insecurity of just being able to, express yourself and having some kind of something to hide behind a little bit while you're trying to figure out who the fuck you are on that stage. So then it just kind of becomes a thing you do because you end up finding that we're trying to work some shit out, as musicians or artists, but we're also up there to entertain. So I think it helps to put the costume on to remind myself I'm there to entertain and not just work through some weird daddy issues.
With this tour and you being sort of front and center, which I know, with Tool and a Perfect Circle, you tend to sort of be to the side and the back. Like, how's that changed? What you do and how you present yourself.
But with Pussifer, I'm always down in front. And a lot of that is just logistics for sound, like having all those amps and Danny's octopus drums and Justin's massive bass to be down in front of the mix for the front of house and almost impossible. So being up near the drums and behind the guitar amps actually ends up helping just from a technical standpoint to separate sound. And it's such a big show. Like I'm only we're only talking about an extra 6 or 8 feet, so I'm not sure what the big deal is.
It's all presentation. It's
It's
what
it's, it's presentation, and it's also just technical logistics of making sure that we have to remember we're here to like make sure it sounds good.
Hmm.
So I'll do whatever I'll do it, and we need to do to make it sound good.
Yeah. Wait, could you actually talk more about when you were talking about the voices there? Because with each band, again, it's different styles of music, within rock or whatever. But what does that mean in the different styles of like technically actually what you're doing with your vocals?
Who, Les?
I was still talking to you.
Oh shit. Um, well, I mean, it's pretty simple. It's different conversations with different people. So, if Matt's coming at you with a synclavier and some amazing programmable, synths, uh, and then another band is coming at you with old rock and roll, like four on the just crazy amps and drums. It's different conversations because you're having to navigate, a different set of sounds. So naturally, as a vocalist, you're going to end up trying to find your way, unless you're just, some front man that just you're going to be the front man the same way no matter what, which is also cool for some people, but not for me. I kind of like to morph a little bit.
Does it work the same way with you, Les? Is it actually different vocal techniques with your different acts?
I mean, it just depends. It's more song to song than it is act to act, I think.
Yeah.
When you're playing with someone like Sean Lennon, who's got this amazing voice, and I'm just trying to keep up with that guy. But actually, if anything, he's just there laying some silky smooth sauce on my rough chunk of meat or whatever metaphor you want to use. Boy, I kind of floundered on that one.
We're back to the message board.
Yes, back to the message board. So it's like anything else. Like I've said many times, it's the musical conversation, and like Maynard just said, it's about the conversation. When you're talking to somebody, well, we're talking to you right now differently than I'm going to talk to my buddy Tim Soya, who's about to walk in the room at any moment now. Because we have a different dynamic and a different history and blah 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 blah. And that's the way you move through life, interacting with human beings socially, and it's the same way musically.
When you guys are on stage then on this tour, like have you noticed, especially playing on each other's songs, like you've heard each other's music, throughout the years, but actually getting to dig into each other's songs, is it I don't know, is it a specific challenge? Is one band's music harder to play than any of the others or different in a way you didn't expect?
Yeah, I think that it's because I think always you kind of have to look at it if you're guesting on something. Although the band's there playing it, you're almost in your mind. You're kind of like feeling like you're doing a cover song, right? It's never going to be yours. So really being conscious about when the actual band is playing on stage, making sure that you're fitting in with what they're doing. It's almost like an extra conscious effort to be a piece of it rather than stand on top of it.
I just think the greatest thing of all of this we've done in the whole Sessanta thing and Sessanta Plus or whatever the next version 2.0 is is watching Maynard the cat being Maynard the cat. Especially the first several attempts.
Oh, man, that was a disaster.
But it was a glorious. It wasn't a disaster. It was glorious. It was glorious. It was like Buzz Lightyear would say, falling gracefully.
I can, yeah, yeah, that was. I've never laughed through my own train wreck harder than the first three or four shows.
Oh, it was amazing.
I think that's what fans are hoping for a little bit. Like I like seeing like I was watching like somebody shot the end of the Red Rocks show where the amps had blown out and you guys were just vamping for what seemed like forever, you know.
Oh, you think it seemed like forever for you?
Still going on. I fucking night right now.
I mean, that's the work stress dream right there, isn't it? That's the work stress dream that I think we've all had. But that's like nobody,
But it was amazing.
yeah, right. Nobody blew up.
So many people at our VIPs and whatnot at our shows say, "Oh my God, the Red Rocks thing, the end of Red Rocks was unbelievable, it was incredible," because it shows that we're human and it shows that it's not just this scripted thing and that we can go off the rails a bit and come back and not just completely crash and burn. And people love that shit.
Mhm.
I remember years ago seeing Peter Gabriel choke. It was a security tour, and him and Tony Levin choked this one part of the song, and it's the only thing I remember from the show. I mean, it was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen. But that's the thing that stuck out the most to me is that they did this little. They went off the rails, and Peter's like, "That's what you call spontaneous improvisation, or what commonly known as a fuck up." And I remember him saying that and going, "Oh my God, I saw Peter Gabriel fuck up on stage." So it's to me, it just shows that we're human.
Yeah. And especially, I mean, you guys, whether you've meant to cultivate it or not, like there is this beautiful mystery in your artistry. And I say that as someone who enjoys that type of thing. Everywhere I said, I think Bowie's over my shoulder in every one of my little shots. And, there was always this great mystery. He was a dude, of course. You guys are just dudes. But I like when artists sort of let that mystery still exist. And then for these moments also to be open when you can just fuck up on stage. I'm not the first person who's asked this, but how you all feel about the perception that people have about, your bands, and if you like playing into it.
I'm thinking of becoming an influencer.
Is that true?
No,
I'm going to become an outfluencer.
I'm thinking of becoming an affluent.
How often do you all drink each other's wine?
On the road all the time.
Yeah, I crushed his champagne about a week ago.
I don't think I knew you had champagne too, Les.
Oh yes,
The Pachydermy.
Yeah, we have champagne from Champagne. It's actual champagne. It's not sparkling wine.
Real champagne.
It's my wife's thing. My wife, she loves bubbles, and so she wanted to do a champagne project, and we did, and I actually very much enjoy it.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
The champagne from Champagne. I get that. I mean, Louisville. I'm in Louisville, so it's the bourbon specifically from a very specific place that becomes important. But do you all like? I know around here, especially when they're the barreling with the bourbon, Like there's a few different places that will use music to inject into the barrel. I don't know if does it make a difference? Do either of you all do that?
I mean, there's music being played on the crush pad, and it just varies. It depends on who's working and who's doing what, but there's nothing specific that we play to the barrels.
Yeah.
Well, we definitely play. So here you have the what fruit come in, what date it was, what all the numbers are, how many tons. But then there's the soundtrack of what we play when that wine is being processed. So that soundtrack goes on the tasting notes.
So, and I mean this, like, what's the difference that you can tell when you do Devo versus Gillian Welch?
The biggest difference is when you pour for somebody and you show them the tasting notes card, they go, "Oh, cool! You played Devo when you made this," and that's about as far as it goes. You can't. It's not going to change the wine. If I could tell you that it does. I think it's a better story if I say, "Oh, absolutely. The Sangiovese that I played the Pretenders for is far more rough around the edges than the Kraftwerk Sangiovese."
So you're basically saying it's sort of like the candy Skittles, where some people say that they can taste the different colors until the company says there's absolutely no difference in the taste of any of those colors.
That's because I hung around Lane Staley too long.
It all comes back around every time. Are you guys going to do another Sessanta EP?
I think we kind of ran out of time on doing that, but I don't think it's out of the question. I'm definitely going to approach everybody to see if they want to do something in the future.
Yeah.
Us, any ideas?
This is all just falling into my lap. I hadn't really thought about it, to be honest with you. But I'm always up for a good time.
Ain't nothing but a good time. Les, the last few times we've talked, you have talked about several projects that it has still yet to see the light of day. You mentioned Sean, your buddy Shiner there, and the next Claypool Lennon, and Billy Strings, I think you had been mentioned. Like, are either of those getting any closer?
Well, my daughter's getting married not this weekend, but next weekend, and Shiner's coming out for the wedding, and we're supposed to get together after the fact and finish this damn Delirium record we've been chipping away at for a couple years. So that's in the works. Billy, him and I got about halfway done with the record and just both got really busy, especially him. I mean, the guy's taking over the world. So
Every 3 minutes, I see something on the feed him like taking over a small country.
yeah, it's so he's riding a wave right now. And he's busy and I'm busy. So we'll get back to it at some point. I gotta say though, I had an amazing weekend. I didn't mean to. It just kind of fell together. But I went to you remember Stuart Ross, don't you?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Went to Stuart Ross's house and he had Puddles the Clown there and Eric Idle and Weird Al Yankovic and Peter Asher. And we had like an acoustic jam all evening. It was amazing. It was unbelievable.
Did you lose my fucking number? What happened?
Yep, lost your number. But yeah,
It's still gone.
There is photo evidence. I've seen the picture is circulating of you all standing around. I'd actually forgot about that.
It was incredible. And of course me, because I'm not real bright, is I'm sitting there talking to Eric Idle because I just watched the Ruddles recently, which I hadn't seen in 30 years, and it was unbelievable. And I was talking to him just about the sonic dimension of the songs and the production of them and how they sound incredible. It sounds like the Beatles. And I'm sitting there talking about Jeff Emmerich and blah, 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 spouting away. And all of a sudden this guy at the end of the table goes, "Yeah, I knew Jeff Emmerich." And he chimed in a bit. And I was like, wow. And I didn't realize, and Eric looks at me and goes, "That's Peter Asher." And I'm like, holy shit. So I got caught, what do you call it? I was showboating a little bit, and then the real guy said, "Well, let me tell you, Sonny boy." So, but it was epic. It was an epic evening.
That's crazy.
And then I got to go to Magic Castle 2 days later. That was incredible. You been to Magic Castle, Maynard?
Not yet.
It's amazing.
I've heard good things.
Yeah. So I had a good weekend.
That's not a bad weekend. Les, do you have a nickname for Maynard?
Oh boy.
I don't think I do. I always just called him Maynard, but no, I don't think so.
Huh. Well, how
It's
do you
coming
pass that
though.
one up?
It's a
Well,
coming.
I'll wait.
There's like there's our secret nickname that I only use when we're spooning, but I just can't divulge that one right now.
On the message boards.
Yeah, I can't. That's personal stuff. You're getting a little too personal.
Maynard, can I ask what's next for you on the musical release front?
Well, I'm always working on stuff, so it all ends up being, a race to see who's gonna step up and dig in and make it a priority in their lives. So, yeah, I'm always working on stuff, but it's all a matter of the other guys making it a priority and setting a deadline.
Well, I'm always ready to receive for any of this stuff. Seriously, I can't thank the both of you enough. Honestly, I really do mean how I feel about both of your bands. I say both of your bands, all of the bands from both of you, if that makes sense.
Yes,
So thanks so much for taking the time, and I look forward to seeing you guys back out on that tour and whatever hijinks come along with it.
sir.
The old hijinks.
All right.
All right, farewell, farewell.
And thanks to my guest. Also, thanks to you for checking out the episode in the series. Before you get out of here, hit that subscribe button. Again, you get 3 brand new interviews every single week. New one every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at right here on YouTube, or of course anywhere in podcast land, including iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podchaser, NPR, or WFPK.org as well. A great way to keep up with your favorite artists and discover new ones as well. Then after that, actually head over to WFPK.org. That's where I do a show Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern. It's an hour full of song premieres, music news, anniversary spins, bonus interviews, Monday through Friday, 6 p.m. Eastern at WFPK.org. Consequence has your music and film news. You can also find me on the social media spots, Facebook, Instagram, mostly on Twitter. All 3 of them, the address is at Kyle Meredith. Do hope you like and follow along. That does it for another edition. I'm Kyle Meredith. I'll see you next time.